Welcome to This Week in Pulling, the show that brings you all the action from the world of tractor and truck pulling. I'm Dan Mayer, joined by Jeremy and Miles Krieger, and each week we'll dive into the latest highlights, breaking news, and behind-the-scenes stories from the sport we all love. From upcoming events, standout performances, and the rich history that shaped pulling into what it is today, we've got you covered. So buckle up, This Week in Pulling starts now. Well, welcome back. This Week in Pulling, episode number 42. And a beautiful day here in southern Indiana. And, well, how'd it go, Jeremy?
Yeah, just, a pretty decent Tuesday. I wish the Mother Nature would figure it out. It's, 18 degrees outside. It's 60 degrees outside. It's 40 degrees outside. It's windy. It's rainy. It's snowy. It's sunny. Welcome to the Ohio Valley. Like, it's just, you could... I think you could take bets on what the weather's going to do and maybe make a little bit of cake here and there. But yeah, things are well. Welcome back. Another episode of This Week in Pulling. Thanks for being with us along for the ride. Episode number 42. Yeah, we're still kind of in the quiet phase, but Dan, if memory serves, if my dates are correct, like, are we not like 1 week, like 1 month out exactly?
Tomorrow will be, yes.
Yep. We're getting super duper close to being about a month out from the National Farm Machinery Show. I can't believe it. It's almost here.
And as you mentioned with the weather, that is farm show weather.
Yeah.
One day you get 70, the next day you get 30. So we're right on par.
Absolutely. So we'll see how that all comes to pass here at the 2026 version of the championship tractor pull at the National Farm Machinery Show. Can't believe it's coming. It's almost here, but I mean, winter pulling is starting. The what's smoking? I can't call it Gordyville anymore because it's really not that. So it's the Midwest Winter Nationals up in Cloverdale, Indiana. They'll start taking to the dirt, I believe, tomorrow or Thursday. Like they'll start they'll pull everything up there, like you name it, and they will pull it. They're at the What's Smoking Promotions Midwest Winter Nationals in Cloverdale. That's coming along. And then what else is going on, Dan?
This weekend will be the Big Daddy Winter Nationals down in Williamston, North Carolina. They'll have 6 classes. This will be brought to you on Full Pull Live this weekend, Friday night at 6:30 and Saturday night at 6:30.
Now, is that UPOC or is that a
little bit of everything, I guess? They pull a little bit of everything, and I believe our guest may be running down there as well. So we'll tease that a little bit before we get into it. But before we get into our guest and what happened, we got to give you Hoosier fans a great big applause as just one game away.
Absolutely. 1 to go. It's going to be a tough one, though. But, man, I was tickled to death with how they performed against a very, very stout Oregon team. But, wow, from the word go, a pick 6 on the very first play of the game. And then, Oregon came back, and I thought it was going to be a shootout, but then the bottom kind of fell out quickly. But, wow, what a game. And, just in 2 years, Kurt Signetti has done just unbelievable things with this football program. And
get that man a beer.
Yes.
Get that man a beer, right?
And I think he's also renegotiated his contracts again. Like, I think I heard this week or maybe late last week that now he has to be at all times in the upper 1/3. Like, he has to be in the top 3 of all FBS coaches. He has to be in the top 3. And if there are 2 others that bump him out, he immediately gets a salary bump.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Great,
cool. And
where do I sign up?
That'll be next Monday coming up, and I'll see if they can cap it off. And
I'm a whiner, and nobody cares about my opinion, but I really don't think that it should ever be allowed that the national championship game is a home field advantage game. It should
I don't think so. It should be on a neutral. It should be like the Super Bowl, a neutral ground.
That should ever be allowed to happen, and that's the only thing that concerns me. Miami is playing on their very home, in their very home stadium, which is always, no matter how you spin it, an advantage.
Always tough, right? Absolutely,
for sure.
Also, got to give a shout out to my Buffalo Bills. Got it done here this weekend. Josh took the team, put them on his shoulders, and on to Denver. So up in the mountains.
I'm excited for you. Of course, my son is a diehard Bronco fan. So
All right.
happy and someone's not going to be happy this weekend. So.
Yeah, it's like you say, it's just a game. But leading into our guest here this weekend, we've got the farm show about a month away.
Right.
And our guest here is going to be a guy that we were kind of looking for the first timers. We're going to get to some of those here as the weeks move along.
Sure.
But right now we're going to go to a guy that has pulled at the farm show, but it's been, let's just put it this way. The last time he pulled at the farm show, I was still in high school.
Wow. Okay. So it's been a while.
It's been about 30 years. Actually, it's been a little bit over that.
More than 30 years. Because you graduated ahead of me.
I'm a 93 model.
Okay.
And he last competed there in 92. So.
Okay. So I'm a 94 guy. So I'm one behind you. So yeah, we're well north of 32 for me. So 33 for you coming.
Wow. Holy smokes. Just doesn't get any. It's just wow. All right. Well, let's bring in our guest here. And
for sure.
Let me roll down here as excuse me. There we go. We got Mr. Carlton with us. David Carlton. Thanks for joining us here tonight on This Week in Pulling.
Thanks, Dan. Great to be here. So be with y'all and see what's up and pulling.
Well, I got to ask you first off, where's this jelly come in? I see the David Jelly Carlton there, and I got to ask that question. Where's that come from?
Well, when Dad was pulling back years ago, we the engine builder that we used to have down in Smithfield, Virginia, he used to send me out to the 7-Eleven and get donuts. Well, when I went out to eat the donuts, I always get the jelly-filled donuts, and when I come back, I didn't eat half of them. So he kind of nicknamed me Jelly. So that's how that kind of started.
Well, that's fair.
And that stuck with me through high school and everything. So it's been a long nickname, I guess you want to say.
I feel like that's one you wear with a badge of honor, though. I mean,
there you go.
Absolutely, Jelly.
You had the shirts to prove it too, right? I mean,
that's right. Yeah,
Jelly donut on earth that this man is.
And now, David, let's jump into you mentioned your dad, history of pulling. And Jeremy and I are of course big historians, and we go back to watching the days of your dad, Big John Carlton, on TV. We talked about that, just about every episode, how, back in the 80s, you used to be able to see pulling on TV just about every day. And your dad was one of those stars that, Jeremy was on the different side of things. He was more or less up and personal with a lot of these pullers, where I was just watching them, from the stands and on TV. But yeah, tell us about your dad.
When he started pulling, I think it was like the late 70s. They started out like a field stock like tractor, and then they went to the single engine, like an economy class. And but he progressed as it got along pulling, and they eventually went to a 3-engine tractor. And then we ended up, I think it was around 88, 89. He built that Engler chassis, and that was actually built for 7 engines, but we only run 5.
Okay.
That was about the same time that Engler built his 7-engine tractor. And I think Dad he wanted to, we anticipated running 7, but we never proceeded no further than 5.
That's probably good. I'm sure. With all
5 was enough. I couldn't keep them running sometimes.
5 was definitely something that I'm sure was plenty back in the day. And the name of that tractor was the Virginia Farmer, right?
Correct. Yeah, the Virginia Farmer. Yeah,
I always loved.
And we stayed with that name and never had a Virginia Farmer 2, or no, it was always the Virginia Farmer. And my dad's brother, and they used to call it the Carlton brothers. So they was in it together at first, and then he kind of shied off from the pulling. He didn't go with us. He was coming there to the shop and help us work on and stuff like that at nighttime. But it got down to the end, it was just me and Dad. So
okay. And
then when I started driving, it kind of, Dad didn't go the last 2 or 3 years that, he didn't actually go to the pools. I had another guy that used to go with me and help me. And we traveled the Grand National Circuit that year. I want to say it was the same year, 92. I think I went to and run different pools. I think I went to Chapel Hill. And then I think that one's in Macon, Missouri, if I'm not mistaken.
That is correct. Yep, that's Macon, Missouri, 92 there, David.
And the last pull I think we pulled with that tractor, we run at Bowling Green, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
And then when we come home, Jim Martell had talked to Dad at Bowling Green, and then we decided, we said, well, it's too much. He was getting older. And we was picking up a lot more farmland, trying to do on the family farm. And he said, we can't stay away, that much. And then plus try to work on a 5-engine tractor.
Right.
So we said, we're going to sell the tractor. We were going to build a 2-wheel drive. That was our plan. And then that just got lost in the leaves. We just got too busy working. And then, it just went on from there. And then Dad passed away in 2001. And then I eventually got back into pulling, but it took me a few years. It like 2012 before I bought a 4-wheel drive, and that was a mistake because I went with a guy to help him with his truck, and I said I really should not do this because this is probably going to make me get that itch again and go back pulling, and it did. And then we went and bought a 4-wheel drive from a guy by the name of Stanley Hawkins out of Orange, Virginia, Culpeper. In that area, and that was the Bodacious truck.
Okay,
and I changed that into the Breathe Easy, the 4-wheel drive. We painted it that pink color with the flames on. We run that for a few years, and then I ended up going to the 2-wheel drive, and that's when I bought the Blade truck from Bartley.
Bartley's truck
out of South Carolina.
Right.
Out of Jeffrey Bartley. Yeah.
Yep, and he had the lumberjack too for a while.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
well, we always talk about that itch, pullers say that, I don't like to go to the pulls because, hey, are you going to the farm show? And no, I like to stay away. And it's true. I mean, it really is, isn't it? It's tough to get.
Once you get that feeling and people, they think you're crazy when you tell them that noise and the vibration. I love it. I mean, I would love to drive a modified again. Right. I just don't want to have work on it.
Right.
But the driving part, I love that part. So,
well, of course, my father, came up in the sport much like your dad did, and what I remember of your dad was always hearing my father refer to him always as not just John, but Big John. And I remember very vividly being introduced to Big John and understanding why he was Big John. And then hearing this unbelievable Southern Virginia accent that I, as a Yankee, had never heard at that young age before. I was hooked. And, taking his big hand. And I just remember very vividly being introduced to the man, the Virginia farmer, and thinking, wow, this is a really surreal thing. And, we talk a lot about the history of the sport and the nostalgia that we feel for having grown up in that era. But your dad, make no mistake, he is one of the legends of our sport, in my humble opinion.
Right. Well, appreciate that. Yeah. He's well missed, I guess you want to say, in the pulling side of it, but I'm pretty sure he's smiling now because we've turned our program around and we're running good. I mean, we're not a slouch. We can go where we want to go. So I feel pretty confident with what I got. And I owe a lot of credit to Jason Gibson and with C&G Motorsports. They do all of my motor work, and he actually does a lot of my chassis and type stuff too. So
okay. Good deal. Yeah, that's a great group of folks, and I know lots of guys on the KTPA side and the TNT side do a lot with CG, and they're very, very well spoken and very happy with the product that Gibby's putting out up there. So that's great news. Right. But what's the plan for 2026? What are you thinking in terms of are you going to chase points somewhere, or are you just kind of going to wherever you want to go?
Well, we think we're going to try to run the UPOC points again. Try to run there, and we want to win the Region 4. I like to get the championship. We run this year and they didn't have enough pulls to actually qualify to be a points champion, but we did qualify to go to the Inderley. So
okay, well, that's good.
But we want to go, because I was a champion back when we had the modified tractor, but we just got I ain't gonna say I got cheated out of going to Enderley, so it was kind of good to go back with the truck. But see, with a modified tractor, I was so young. I was 16, going on 17 years old, and they took the previous year from this Raleigh State Fair as your event for to go to the farm. To the Enderley, and for that season, I was the points champion, but I missed the Raleigh pool.
You didn't run the year
and
before.
That throwed me out of the going to the Enderley. And people say, well, you're champion, you should be able to go to the Enderley. And I can see the rules. I mean, I can see that. I didn't get cheated. It was just that's the way the rules was at that time, because the Raleigh is after the Enderley. That's in October, and Enderley's in September. So
they take
everything after Enderley, adds into the next year. So that kind of threw me out of the Enderley pull-off for that part. So
now, David, let me ask you a question. How many events do you have to crown a region champion then? Because you say they didn't have enough.
It's three. They didn't have but 2 hooks. So, but you got to have 3.
I have 3 hooks. Okay.
Classify. And this year, UPOC I think right now it's 2 events. So that's 4 hooks is what's on the schedule right now. So
they will crown a region 4
well, we will crown a champion this year.
Okay, good.
So, but it's good trucks. I mean, it's you got all the Lees in North Carolina, you got the Altmans in Georgia, and it's going to be a good field of trucks that we're going to have to run to do it, because everybody's coming. Now with the champion, so you got a bullseye on your back. So we're going to have to step our game up this year to try to keep that championship here. So.
Now, running out of where you do, Shackelford's, Virginia. Now, where is that? Is that close to Little Plymouth? I always loved Little Plymouth.
It's actually like 3 miles, but that's our post office. See, they closed down the post office at Little Plymouth. So we had my mom and all and dad, they had to change their address to Shackelford's area. Because my mom was the postmaster. Okay. And then when they closed that down, she retired. They closed that post office down, and then you change our address. So we won't know. It's still Little Plymouth, but we go by the addresses as Shackelford's.
So I could still call you from Little Plymouth, Virginia. If
you look it up on the map. There's a Little Plymouth.
Okay, Virginia. All right. Before we go too far down the road, David, I got to ask you about back in the day when your dad pulled with Mark Miller here with the Mini Brew. Were you related? How did that all work out? Just friends, or
he's my
your dad's tractor a few times, and
his mom and my dad are brother and sister.
Okay. All right.
So he's my cousin. He still works for us on the farm. He actually takes care of the farm while I'm going pulling.
Oh, okay.
So he's me and him kind of merged together, and he helps us.
So he stays away.
He stays away.
I can't get him to go pulling because I think he's got that itch will come, so that he says I'm not going. He'll go to my local pool that's right there at home that Dragon has. We have one at the at Miller's Tavern.
Okay.
And he will come to that one, but that's about as far as he goes.
Well, if you happen to be at a pull, and I'm there, try to get him to come and let me know, because I would. That was a tough truck back in the day, and that was a good running truck. Yeah, at that time, and that's about the time you said that picture you showed. We was talking about the tires, and he was talking about the ones, CPAC come out. He started with like a Firestone, right,
and then CPAC come out with the puller, the giant puller, and that's about time that pulling got. It was a tire thing. You had to get the tires to keep running. We actually was on that subject today when we was in the shop. So, it's ongoing. He said that's kind of and I'm kind of wondering, is that what's going on now with these tires? They're trying to make us buy them to stay up and competitive. Because if you don't have them, you're not going to win, I guess. I ain't going to say win, but you're not going to be competitive. So, but
yeah, definitely the tire wars have made it kind of, a different game, really.
And it's no bad tire. It's just you got to figure out the setup on each tire.
Sure.
and how your truck likes it. And looked like side piece this year. We put on the nickels, and we had a rough start. I mean, Farley was not my best performance by no means, but ever since then we found a little setup, and it looked like we kept fine tuning it, and the more we did, the better the truck run. So I think we found something, and we related to Bob, and I don't know if it's going to be if he let any other pullers know, but we kind of told him what we found, but that's about it. You don't get rid of too many secrets because you got to have the advantage. But,
Sure.
but he thinks we found something, and so hopefully that's what's going on. So.
Well, I have a question. I was kind of wanted to ask you, being from Virginia and knowing full well that, at least in modern times, Virginia is known more for, four-wheel drive pulling, in terms of, how, per capita and some of the stars of our sport from Virginia. Do you appreciate, the fact that you're kind of out there making noise in the two-wheelers and trying to put Virginia on the map?
Yeah. It's interesting because I'm the only two-wheel drive in the state of Virginia.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
The only two trucks is my two. So
okay,
and I'm sure it's one that was in orange, but he never got it together. He bought a chassis, but I don't know, something went, and that was 2-3 years ago. And I told him I'd be glad to help him, but they kind of went by the wayside, and he never got it going. So. But yeah, it's kind of strange, but I like four-wheel drives, but I've always been that type of guy. I like the blowers. I can tune on them motors easier because I was brought up around it. That's all I've done when I was, when I was 12 years old, when I was working on them ones on that tractor.
Right.
That's all I've ever done. I just watched Dad do everything he done, and I picked up on that, and we kind of learned from that. Now, these motors are different than what we was working on then, but they got the same concept. Everything works the same. And
what do you think he would think now, like, 20 plus years, gone, if he saw today's horsepower and the things that they're doing with blowers and superchargers? Like, what would he think it was cool, or would he hang him up and stay where he was at?
It's no question. I mean, I know he wants power. He loved horsepower.
Sure.
That's why he wanted to add 5 and then 7 engines on that tractor. So I'm sure if he was still living there, we probably would have an unlimited modified running sometime or another if he could do it, if he had time to do it. So
that's fair.
And I would love to I would love to do it, but the dreadful work of keeping it up. That's the thing. You got to have manpower to service them,
Yeah,
for sure.
Now, David, having driven a modified, having driven a four-wheel drive and a two-wheeler, what is the two-wheelers your favorite? I mean, is it just if you could go, like you say, if you had help to go back and do a modified, would you? Or how is it like the ride side of it? What was your favorite ride?
Back then, the modified is probably the ride, Mm-hmm. I would say the two-wheel drive is more. It's you got to be better driver. It sees how good a driver you are because you're trying to take that much horsepower and hook them smaller tires.
Sure.
Where and the mini rods are similar to the same engine weight transfer, the 2,000 pounds that they got. But they're getting up on top of the ground and going. We're trying to get hooked in it, so it's a little bit different. But the minis are probably the wildest ride out there. But the modified is probably the most powerful one on there because everything rattles.
Have you driven minis as well?
No, we was planning on. I had one built, and not built. I bought one, and we had it just about ready. And the guy where I bought Johnny Wynn that I bought side piece from,
mm-hmm.
He called me just before Christmas one year, and he said, I'm ready to sell that truck because I told him I was interested if he ever sold it.
Right.
And we had bought that Mini. We had never really made the thing to saying we was bringing out a Mini. We had it all painted. It was ready. All we had to do was put the engine in it. And it was going to be named the Little Virginia Farmer.
Nice.
And that's what we were going to do. And it kind of got canned. And my wife kind of made me sell it because after she seen all them wild rides, she said, I don't think you really need to be on that.
Fair.
So, but I would like to drive one time just to see the feel of it. But, you know, it ain't a deal breaker. I'm not going to. I love the 2-wheel drive. I love that, you know. But,
okay. So
and eventually I want to get my wife to drive one. And then, you know, we got both sons coming along. So we're hoping that one of them will step in and then I'll be able to just crew chief, you know, I'll keep them going. So, but I'm going to drive as long as I can now while I still got a chance.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
When I was asked this question, you know, I think this is something that I'm interested in. Okay, so I'm going to write you a blank check. Money is absolutely no object. I have a blank check for you. But you have to build something to campaign that you've never driven before, ever. It has to be something you've never, ever climbed aboard or strapped into in a class that you've never once pulled, ever. And I want to know what it would be. Money is no object.
To tell you the truth, I really like the alcohol supers.
Okay.
That they run. I'm not a diesel fan.
Okay.
Like I run them every day, and
Sure.
everybody says, "Well, I don't know why you don't have a diesel tractor." And I said, "Well, I see smoke every day with them and do it. I don't really want to wrench on them. I want something else." So.
Fair. Okay.
But you know, I do like the alcohol supers.
Okay.
If I had to pick one, you know, if I could do that, you know, if money was no object and be the baddest thing around, that would probably be my choice.
Oh,
right.
Good answer. I like it. We have a Virginia Farmer Smokeless edition.
Yeah, there you go.
So, David, moving ahead, of course, we've got tomorrow 1 month from the National Farm Machinery Show. And at the beginning of the show, we were talking about the last time that you competed down at the farm show back in 1992. And we were both in high school back then, still just young bucks. And, you know, it's been what was the to go and apply for the farm show this year? And there's a shot of the Virginia Farmer in 92 at the farm show. Would have been the last time you were there. But what was behind that decision? Have you applied over the last few years, or is this the first year you've applied?
No, we've applied probably for the last 3 or 4 years, and then you know we tried it with Breathe, but we never could, you know, nail down a championship. A run. We'd go ahead and run, and we'd always run well where we went, but we couldn't, you know, we didn't have time to devote to going and running the full schedule.
Sure.
And this year we said we were going to try to lock down and run a championship because I thought I had pretty good equipment, you know, and I said, if I can keep everything together and don't have no breakages, I've got a shot. And it started out a little rough, but we turned the corner, and in the last part of the season, we turned it on. So
yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I was tickled to death with the way the truck run. We got to go to the Enderley, and we made a good run. I don't know if there's anything I could have changed to make that run any better, other than maybe my driving style. I might was a little bit late on the throttle. I probably could have, you know, I'm used to at home with our tracks is a little bit lighter. Night is grippier, I guess you won't say. The bite is quick, and I think I might have got behind on the throttle, and then that might have. I mean, it won't be 3 feet, but if I could have got after it a little quicker, that might would have got me closer. But I'm satisfied. I'm not going to hang my head that I got second. Not with this field of trucks because they were all good.
Absolutely.
So going to be pulling Friday night. You got the Friday night class here at the National Farm Machinery Show coming up. Now, you have had quite a bit of success here on these indoor pulls. You know, they had the Lexington pull here just, a couple weeks ago. Did really well. I mean, what is it with is it going back to the old days when you guys used to pull indoors that you got that, in your back pocket, or?
I don't know. It's a setup. We've run indoor for the last 3 or 4 years. We've been going to Florida to Ocala and run them, and it's the track conditions. You know, the tracks are not as quite as good as you do outdoors. So you set your truck up a little bit different, and we've got a pretty good notebook. I guess I want to say, and and we're trying to tune on it. So that's one thing that's worried me a little bit about going to Louisville, because I know that's the best dirt out there. That's going to be
put all the weight on the nose.
Put all the weight on the nose. Endlessly better. So, but we're going to be all wide open. So we ain't holding nothing back.
Well, congratulations for being accepted. We've talked at length. Dan and I have talked about how this year it seems like we could not have predicted who the selection committee brought in on the side of the two-wheel drive class. There are so many new guys that haven't been in a long time, and rookies, and I just think it's really cool for the sport, and I'm excited to see some people get to come back after a long hiatus. So congratulations on getting in there.
All right, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Now, will you be pulling other winter dates after the farm show?
We got one. We're gonna put in for the one that TNT is putting on one in Shelbyville, Tennessee.
Okay.
At the Cooper Steel Arena. Yeah, it's in March. Okay. We're gonna try to get into that if it's still available.
Okay.
We was kind of caught up, and I didn't actually look at the thing, and I was asking Jason Gibson tonight, is the entry thing still on? He said he thinks it still is open to get in. So
okay.
But we'll try there, and then if we don't get in, we'll be ready. We'll start. Our season starts, I think, April 1st, that weekend of April, something like that. Our first pull, we go to Roanoke Rapids with UPOC.
Okay.
That's our first event. So we'll get the ball rolling right off the get-go.
Awesome.
Now, David, are you planning on running that Big Daddy Motorsports event down in Williamston? Are they running?
Yeah,
they're running two-wheelers, aren't they?
We're going to run. Yeah, we're going to run this weekend, but we're not running side. We're just running Breathe Easy. So side piece is we got it in the shop and got
it's
it
getting ready
cleaned it up, trying to get it cleaned up. So we had the engine out, and we put the engine back in after for the Lexington pull at there, and it run good. Everything seemed to be fine. So we pulled it back out, and I got it. The truck is going to the body shop. We're getting a few cracks fixed up. And over the time, it took a beating. I've dropped it a few times in the trailer. The tire got up beside it. So we're trying to get everything cleaned up, back presentable, I guess you want to say.
Okay, sure.
We know people's going to be looking at it. So that's one thing about when you go to the farm show, it's a lot of people.
That's for sure.
A lot of people watching. And of course, this weekend, be able to see a Big Daddy Motorsports event right here on Full Pull Live. So your fans can watch you both nights down there and see if you can keep that streak going with this indoor pulling.
And I hope the weather don't affect some of the guys coming in that's coming from out of town. It's supposed to be for the class. I'm hoping that we're going to still have a pretty good attendance. But the weather is kind of sketchy right now. Coming down, I guess, from up your way, Jeremy, coming down. It's kind of coming out of the Kentucky side, that snowstorm or something is coming in.
Yeah, they were talking. Go ahead, Jeremy.
There's some speculation now that there could be some snow, I believe, headed in tomorrow night into Friday, perhaps, and but they're talking that it's going to be less than an inch here. So I guess the further south we go, depending upon how cold it gets, that could affect some folks coming for sure, no doubt.
Well, it's always cold where you at anything.
You're right.
It's always cold there.
You're right, especially in January and February. It is cold here.
Yeah, that's for definitely. But well, David, thanks for spending a little bit of time with us here tonight. And like you say, welcome back to the National Farm Machinery Show. And look for big things from the team here on a Friday night when you guys run. And have you looked down the list, or is it like one of those things you look and you kind of look at all the other competitors, or you just kind of like I got to worry about myself, or how do you go about psyching your? I mean, I know the psych part has got to be there's no psyching up for that event.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I've looked at it, and all of them, it's 12 trucks, and all 11 that I got to run against. None of them is no slouches that I've seen. Some of them I haven't heard of until I started looking at them, but they run good where I've seen they've been good. So we'll see how we stack up. We're not gonna hold nothing back. We're going full board with this thing. So
Well, I know
We're
one thing.
we're gonna try to make the finals if we can. That would be I missed the finals when I was there. Was it 33 years ago in '92?
Right.
I think John Howman beat me by like 6 inches or something in the modified to make that. Well, it wasn't a finals. It was getting in the top 3 to get to get interviewed. Because Miles, I think he was at your dad. Was he doing announcing then?
Yeah.
I think he had done Dad or Butch. Yes, he had done the announcing, and I've never got interviewed by him. Dad had got interviewed millions of times, but not me.
Understood. And then I know
we was hoping. I hope I'll get interviewed by you. That'd be a pretty good thing. We can do that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, you just got to get in the top 4 on Friday.
Yeah,
right?
There you go.
Top 4 is the big thing, and then go for the throat on Saturday night. Right.
That's right.
Everybody screws. Turns them screws a little more.
I just know that when that side piece rolls into, Freedom Hall, that wherever he is, the Virginia farmer is going to be smiling. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
And got to give kudos to the 70s style Chevy body. Those have really taken the two-wheel drive class to another level.
Sure,
love seeing them out there.
Yeah, we love that body style. I'm kind of glad. I like that truck. And when Johnny Wynn had it, and we used to be blue and white, and then we got it and we changed it and made it it's a candy apple red type color.
Yeah,
but it really looks good. We really like the way it looks, and we get a lot of compliments. Everybody likes that body style, like you say. Everybody wants to go back to the retro, the old style, And I even thinking about it's in my mind that we're going to retire Breathe Easy's body.
Okay.
I don't know how long. I don't know if I'm gonna run it one more year or what, but we got to. It's going to be big plans maybe for to switch that one over. I'm even going to an older body style than that one. We might even go back in the 40s.
All right.
That truck.
We've got breaking news here.
That's right. We're not mad at that, Mr. Carlton. That's
no, not at all. And you can go ahead and call that maroon Virginia Farmer Red if you'd like. I mean,
yeah, there you go.
Between us, we'll just call it Virginia Farmer Red.
Yeah, we wouldn't be mad if you brought a funny car back either while you're at it.
But yeah, thanks a lot, David, for spending some time with us here on This Week in Pulling, and good luck this weekend at the Big Daddy Motorsports event down there, the Winter Nationals, and you can watch it all on Full Pull Live and see. Do they run like a finals down there? Or they just run 2 separate shows, or
no, just 2 separate shows.
Okay.
Yeah, just 2 separate shows. Yeah, I think they eventually want to get that thing to run for more money, and they saying maybe doing a winter series. So I'm anxious to see to do 3 or 4 different events at different places and try to run a winter points, like getting back like we used to do, in the 80s and 90s with TNT when they run the winter circuit.
Sure. Absolutely.
It's just hard to get anybody to build a track in a Coliseum. Now you got to go to like a horse arena or something like that that's already got the dirt in it, to make it work. But Louisville's the only one I know that I know of right now that in Freedom Hall that they haul the dirt in and put in for a pulling track. Did they do that at Murfreesboro or anywhere for them classes?
I think those are all horse park type facilities, if I remember correctly. Yeah, I think the dirt just sits in there and. Yeah, and Shelbyville was the same way, Kentucky or Tennessee, so I think it's all them like them horse style arenas. Yeah, the old hauling the dirt into the hockey arena. Yeah, that's
a thing of the past almost.
Yeah, well, I mean, you figure Danny Christiani's business. I mean, the Track Builders Incorporated.
Sure.
that was what they did, and they stored dirt under most of them facilities, but I think that dirt is long gone.
I can remember back in the day when we used to go by the Hampton Coliseum, the pile of dirt that they used to was covered up out back by that pond.
Right.
It was a big black tarp sitting there, and that was the dirt that went in that building when they come to have that pull. I think he would come in and just a couple of days before the pull and haul it in, and then he'd have it all cleaned up and gone away by Monday.
Yep. And they still do that in Louisville.
So it's unreal of what they can do.
Absolutely. Well, looking forward to seeing you in about a month, good sir, and have a good weekend down in Carolina doing some pulling, and enjoy yourself, and good to talk with you as always.
All right. I appreciate it. Thank you all for having me on.
All right. Thanks a lot, David. And watch that hook on that left side of the track down there at Louisville.
Yeah, there you go.
You know about it, but
yeah, that's right.
That's the most amazing part to me is how you can bring a track in every year, lay it down different, and it's still got the characteristics where it's got to be something going down through there. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm going to really watch it because Side Piece likes that. She likes to go that left a little bit sometimes. Okay. So it might be a challenge. That's in my mind. I've already been, trying to figure out a way to line the sled up already, and we ain't even got there yet. So, it's in the back of my mind.
I love it. So, well, David, thanks a lot. Spending some time with us here. I know we went a little bit longer than we talked about, but appreciate the time with us here. And like you say, good luck this weekend. And in 1 month here, we'll be talking to you down at the farm show.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thanks a lot, David.
Bye.
All right. Well, Jeremy, that has to that's getting up there. That I'll tell you, Big John Carlton, you go back in the days, like you said, with your dad. And now, did you ever get the opportunity? I mean, going with your dad, seeing these guys week in and week out.
Sure, absolutely.
I'm so jealous.
Absolutely. And that's what I was saying. I just remember him in stature being a very big person. I remember his hands just being way bigger than mine.
Joe Ader size, or?
They were just big hands.
Okay.
And of course, hearing him speak on the microphone and hearing him speak to my dad, and hearing a dialect that your average Yankee from Southern Indiana doesn't hear very often. As an audiophile, I was very, very drawn to what is he saying, and trying to figure out his accents and the way he put different inflection on different words back in those days. But yes, absolutely, I had the opportunity on more than one occasion to be introduced and have an audience with Big John Carlton.
That is awesome. That is really, really cool. And like I say, it was good to see David when he came back into the sport. And the first time that I had the opportunity to talk to him, and that was my first question was, "Hey, were you related to Big John?" And he said, "Oh yeah, absolutely. That was my dad." And because you see a name and Virginia and stuff like that. So, but yeah, that's tough running team, and hard to believe that's the only two-wheeler in Virginia, isn't it?
Well, it's the only one I know of. I'm sure somebody's going to correct us, but it's the only one that I'm aware of.
Well, he said it. I would think he would know.
You look at the Davises and Tappahannock and all of the
all the four-wheel drives, right?
Nurse the mountain motored modified four-wheel drives, but two-wheelers are just sort of silent there.
Yeah. So that also got to mention, Jeremy, last weekend had the opportunity to go to the NTPA Region 1, Region 2 banquet
in Marion, Ohio
on the weekend there, Saturday night, and was able to nice banquet. This is the first year they kind of split them up. They had the Grand National banquet down in Florida, and then they had a Region 3 banquet up, I believe it was Wisconsin, and then they did the Region 1, Region 2 banquet there and just outside of Marion, Ohio. And yeah, very nice how that all kind of broke up. Gave the regional guys, I like that because it gave them their time in the sun. It was the banquet was all about them guys and gals, and yeah, that was a great event put on by the NTPA. So I wanted to make sure I mentioned that before we sign off here tonight. But yeah, it was a great. Had the chance to go visit the headquarters, and Greg Randall and I had he kind of wanted to do a piece. We went down the Wall of Fame of all the Hall of Fame members. That was pretty cool. And some of the Hall of Fame members that really didn't know or anything about or much about. And Greg was able to kind of, hey, this guy, some of the earlier Hall of Fame inductees, you're kind of like, before our time. And it was kind of like, I don't really. But once we got to a certain point, it was like, oh, here we go. This is
I know these
this people. Is where I grew up, So that was pretty neat. But they have done quite a bit of work there at the headquarters, and trying to think, the Brad Moffitt there, the guy that's he's more or less the do-all guy there, but he has done quite a bit. He's made like a he's got some neat displays set up. A lot of they've got like all the Enderly hats over the years, and some trophies, and he's done a really good job there. So, like I say, if anybody has the opportunity, you're going through Marion, stop in. The headquarters are usually there 9 to 5, I think, Monday through Friday. Stop in and check it out. It's really cool, and a lot of history there with the the NTPA, of course. Since 1969. So they're the original.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that'll cap us off here, episode number 42. As we're thanks to David Carlton for joining us for a little bit here tonight, as it took us back a little bit. And the coming weeks, we'll kind of touch on some of the. I'd like to get some of the pullers that may be pulling in Louisville for the first time. We'll get their reactions.
Sure.
And then some of our long time away from Louisville competitors as well. So I think that's kind of neat to kind of bridge that gap and then talk to those competitors. And we got two different spectrums basically. So
absolutely, it'll be here before you know it, man.
I know, hard to believe we're getting down to crunch time, and I'm starting to feel that stress on the back. I've started working on my notes, so it's you try to chip away at it, and then we get this a book with all the competitors, and all their information, and where they ran throughout the year, and we usually get that in a couple weeks before the show there, so you kind of get everything kind of laid out, and then just kind of finishing touches there. But yeah, like you said earlier, we were talking to David, some different picks this year, and there'll be some different competitors, and still be good. It'll still be good competition, that's for sure.
Absolutely. Well, Dan, always a pleasure. Great to see you again. And everybody, thanks for watching, and send messages and tell us what you're up to and what you need and what you think. And thanks as always for being fans.
All right. We'll see y'all next week.